Welcome back to the Startup Diplomat, where I'm meeting promising Dutch startups that are ready to take over Silicon Valley. Today I'm meeting with Nadine, Commercial Director at TWTG. They are experts in the Internet of Things and develop smart products for industry, safety and energy sectors. Nadine is already expanding internationally, but wants to broaden her network in the United States. Check her out. Hi Nadine.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really glad that you're here because, TWTG is a great and successful scale-up. But this name, right? Tell me a little bit more about this name.
Right. So when the company was started about 8 years ago by two friends from college, it was called TWTG. I'm probably not pronouncing this perfectly because I'm not Dutch, but it was basically, those guys are like chalk and cheese. They're very different people. Hence the name two-tone or TWTG.
Yeah.
But with the aspiration of international expansion, we needed a different name. We needed one that can be pronounced outside of the boundaries of Holland, actually. So someone had the great idea of dropping the vowels, or almost all of the vowels, and calling it TWTG, which is even more difficult to pronounce for English people.
Well, let's go back to tweetonig, for our American friends. No, seriously. I'm really glad you're here. Tell me a little bit about the company, because you've been working on the international expansion for the last year and a half, and the US plays a big part in that. Tell me why. Why the US? Why is the US important for you guys?
Yeah, so as TWTG, we develop industrial IoT sensors in the first place.
Yeah.
This is where most of our IP sits as well. Mm-hmm. But we're working in two different sectors. One is Industry 4.0, and here in particularly the oil and gas industry. So of course the US is interesting for us.
Yeah.
And the second sector is utilities, where we've started sort of in the Netherlands, and we're now looking at expanding into the US in particular. But the US is important for us because the oil and gas industries they sit in Rotterdam, but they also sit in the Middle East, and they sit in the US and the Gulf Coast.
And no better place than the US for oil and gas.
So we've set our eye on that, of course, because also there's a lot of old assets are in place. A lot of budget has been sunk. And what we want to do is with retrofitting solutions, we want to make those industrial oil and gas sites a little bit smarter, allow them to work more efficiently, and help them on this digitization journey.
Oil and gas is one important sector, but you also mentioned utilities.
Yeah.
What about utilities?
So in terms of utilities, we're working very much with Dutch organizations in the first place.
Yeah.
What we, however, want to do is we want to expand that within Europe, but also North America is a good market for us, especially with the Clean Tech conference coming up.
Yeah.
So we want to make the most of that. For what we do for the utility customers is that we're developing, again, retrofittable devices that allow our customers to have more insight into what's actually going on. So we can make existing meters smarter. Yeah. And by doing that, I mean that we can see what is happening. We can create solutions. If there is an outage, for instance, we can create much faster solutions. Yeah. What we can also do is we can, with the help of some other customers, we can provide them with modules, as we're calling them, that allow them to control maybe hot water boilers or other devices that are in a household remotely. And with that, what we want to do is we want to create greener solutions. We allow the utility customer to use, for instance, hot water boilers as batteries. So we can store energy because we understand the usage patterns of the residents. Right. When we know we've got a beautiful sunny day like today, or where there's a lot of wind available on a certain day, we can then create basically stations of batteries in residential households, take the energy when it's at most available, and it can be used when it is needed.
Great. And how's that going? Because I understand that you've been already making quite some traction in this market, right? You have customers in the US.
Yeah, we do. But also, if we're looking at what the strategy was, maybe 1.5, 2 years ago, was that we want to get the pull through from these large corporates. Yeah. So what we're doing is we approach them in their home country, where they make really all the big decisions, or in front of our doorstep, because we are just outside of Rotterdam. And with large corporates, if we do something successfully in the first place, then we can of course roll out internationally. And that's what we're doing with Vopak, who is a minority shareholder of ours, for instance, where we have a success in the Netherlands, and now we're looking at the US in the first place, a site in Texas, and then in Singapore as a first site in Asia for us. And if that's really what we want to do, we want to do more of that. Having these first successes under our belt here in Europe, and then roll it out, because we have created that credibility and that trust. I can give that a go. So what we really want is we need to widen our network. So if anyone has connections or is interested in getting in touch with us, or allow us any introductions or create any inroads for us for the oil and gas industries or the utilities industries in the US, we would be very grateful to make that contact.
Nadine, you have so much experience, and you guys have grown a lot in the last few years. Could you share a few tips and tricks, right, to also other entrepreneurs that are, part of the ecosystem in Holland in the Valley? What are some of the challenges that you saw, and maybe if you look back, you would have done differently, right? So, just helping other entrepreneurs to avoid the same mistakes, and related, of course, with the scaling internationally.
Sure. I think you need a strategy, and I think you need to try and stick with it.
Yeah.
What is really important, I think, Holland in the Valley is a really good starting point to find some mentors who know the industry, or who understand the stage in which you're at, and get that guidance. Don't be too proud to ask for help.
Yeah.
And once you've got a strategy, do anything you can to make it happen. Be reflective.
Yeah.
Sometimes you may be going in the wrong direction, so you need to pivot, you need to change. But don't do that all the time, because it also will influence your trustworthiness and your credibility. Yeah,
that's it. Well, thanks for being part of our ecosystem, our community, Holland in the Valley community. And I'm also looking forward to our collaboration in the Clean Tech mission next month.
Yeah, great. We're very happy to be part of that.
Yeah, so, we're starting in California, but we're now branching out, and we're looking at other places in the US, which I think is good. It's really good. Yeah. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.
Cheers.
Yeah. See you soon. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
What I like about Nadine is that she's honest about her ask for advice. People in the Bay Area are happy to help others. So if you have contacts in the oil and gas industry and utilities, please reach out. Cheers.